know why the chat I can't see the chat today. It's the same anyway. So let me just continue. Sorry guys for that interruption. Sorry YouTube for the interruption, please. I thought maybe I did something wrong. That was why you guys I can't read your chat. So I found that I think it's the same thing there. I don't know what happened. So now I saw a press or a broadcast from Tinubu today, and I began to laugh. I say, the heat has actually heated these guys. Please, YouTube, sorry guys, just come back in. I saw a broadcast from Tinubu today, and I said, oh, the fire is already on. The fire is already on. The fire is already on. I was like, oh, the Edos have actually told Tinubu, Edo not be Lagos. In Lagos State, since Tinubu was a governor till today, he had never made a broadcast appealing to the Lagosians to vote his candidate. He has never done that. Go check. Tinubu only compelled them. Tinubu only compelled them to do his will. He had never in the history to vote to beg for a vote. So the video you saw there, my brothers, is people were shouting, oh, Tinubu have come. No, that is to show to you that the heat of your support all over the world for Godwin Obaseki is getting to them. The heat is becoming hotter and hotter by the day. It is going from just a mere heat to a burning fire. It has escalated to become flames of fire that they could not bear it in silence anymore. They are bringing in all manners of political gladiators from all over the world to come and persuade you guys to drop your support for the candidacy of Governor Enorirase Obaseki. That is to tell you that what you are doing here in the diasporas, a political tsunami in Edo State. That is to tell you that the support you are rendering for the betterment of Edo people in diaspora is already creating a political tornado in the political calculation in Nigeria. That was Tinubu had to come out and do a press statement to persuade you, to beg you to reject the candidacy of Governor Enorirase Obaseki. It is not in the character of Tinubu to do that. And also, let me make this very clear. What you heard Tinubu said in that video is not because of the Edo people alone. Because Tinubu is scared right now because of the disbursement, the destruction, and the barrier of godfatherism in Edo State might also have an effect in his stronghold where he had held sway since 1999 to date, as the politicians. He is afraid that if peradventure Obaseki succeeded in ending godfatherism in Edo State, that will indirectly end his sway as a godfather in Lagos State. Because as at that point in time, and as at that point in time, the Lagos State politicians also might just wake up one day and want to resist his hold against his godfatherism in Lagos State. So the guy is fighting tooth and nail to make sure that his hold on Lagos is not truncated as a result of Obaseki re-election in Edo State. So, having said that, let me move on now to quench down the mind of our people. I also saw a video by Gani Audu, the deputy governor candidate of the APC, when he was saying that even the Oba of Benin and his people, that was the language. Go watch the video. He said the Oba of Benin and his people have rejected Obaseki. I have said in series of my videos that these people should, as a matter of fact, remove the Oba from anything that had to do with their politics. The Oba has said in numerous publications and in numerous forums that he is a non-partisan king as far as the Benin Kingdom is concerned. But the PDP and its supporters have refused to stay clear from using the Oba and the palace to score a political propaganda to sway the people emotionally towards their candidacy. I know a few days ago, one of of our social media presenter by the name Comrade Stanley Osaze Osahunohodi also warned John Mayaki, who is not also an Edo man, to desist from using the peace meeting that was held at the palace to propagate unnecessary propaganda in favor of the APC candidate. If you watch the guy, Pastor Sage Izeyamu, he had never in any of his interview or press conferences tried in any form to bring the palace into any of his campaign, even before and after the peace meeting, because he understood the position of the Oba and the respect that the Benin people had for the palace and the monarch of the Benin Kingdom. I want to say here, there's also a publication that was being done by the families of the Oba of Benin in the United States of America, where they categorically warned political actors and gladiators from using the name of the Oba of Benin to score any political gain for whatsoever reason. They also made clear in that video, in that publication, that the Oba of Benin had never in one way or the other debunked or in any ways undermined the office of the governor of the state and his deputy, Obaseki and Shaibu. They said in that publication, what the Oba of Benin simply did is to play a fatherly role in ensuring that there is peace, there is tranquility, there is fairness, there is justice in this forthcoming election. That he never wants the blood of an Edo man, of a Benin son or a Benin daughter in particular to be shared for whatsoever reason. That was a reason or the stand of the Oba. And this is the position of things as of today. This is one reason why these guys should stay clear from using the palace to play their political propaganda. This is unfair. This is not right. If they have no respect for their monarch, where they are coming from, we the Beninese, we have maximum, extreme respect for the ancient throne of Benin Kingdom. Having said that, I want to also try to draw the attention of the Independent National Electoral Commission to their release figure of the PVCs that have been collected. I want to say, in your calculation, sir, there is an omission of 1,000 PVCs in the total PVC collected that you have released. I want the INEC to do justice to this and make sure that that very particular 1,000 voters, PVC, which is equal to 1,000 votes, that have been omitted in their total calculation, they should redo their calculation and give the state the authentic and the right figure, which is supposed to be 2,211,534 against the total that was given by INEC, which is 2,210,534. There is an omission of 1,000 PVC collected, which is equal to 1,000 votes that have been omitted in this very particular calculation. The reason I am raising this very particular statement before the INEC is to make sure so that at the end of the day, if these 2,211,534 PVC collectors decided to translate their collection of PVC to vote, then and at the end they now had to have a vote of 2,211,534. That will now shows there is an invalid vote of 1,000 voters, which is not supposed to be so. So that is the reason why I am drawing the attention of INEC to this very particular 1,000 votes omission in their calculations. Having said that also, let us now go to what we have today. Like I said, Obaseki is the man. He has shown that he has the power to actually fight not just the godfather of our state, but he has actually gone further into fighting godfathers outside the state. Okay, today you will see Gwando Dollar talking. Tomorrow you will see the Supreme Court governor talking. Then the other one again, you're going to see the Chief Tinubu of Lagos State talking. They are prejudiced on these guys because they are seeing the overwhelming support of the Edo people in favor of Obaseki Shaibu movement. Now, In yesterday debate, they did not allow me to speak anything yesterday because yesterday was a very tough day, in the broadcast. Now I want to make some remarks before maybe I will allow 4 or 5 people to contribute in this debate. I want to make some remarks. Many people, the guys that called him yesterday, or if you go to the social media space today, all you see is Obaseki could not present his result. Obaseki could not present his result, he could not defend his result, and all that and that. Let me tell people, there's a way I put my things across. Okay, let me assume that Obaseki never went to school. Okay, in Europe, where you and I live here, or in the diasporas in general, they don't actually put so much emphasis on certificate, but they put so much emphasis on the intellectual capability of the people. This is why African had refused to develop, because we are so much concerned with the paper certificate than what the person has upstairs. So when I see Isaiah repeating 3 credit, 3 credit, 3 credit, 3 credit, 3 credit, no maths, no English. I sat, in my seat. I sat in my seat when I was watching the video or the debate. I was just thinking, let me try to compare these two people. You that had 5 credits, all in A's, in your WAEC in 1980 something. He that had 3 credits in his own WAEC in 1970 something. Now, between these two guys, who is actually more intellectual at this point in time? A man who had 3 credits without English language, according to what's in around, was more eloquent. He has more of the command of English. He also had, the ability to get every question that was thrown at him at one go, without not repeating, what is the question, please? This guy that you said had no English language was also to understand what debate was all about. This guy who you said had no English language also understands that in debate there are time frames be put in place by the moderator to know where to end in every debate. And I began to wonder, how can a man who had no English can speak so eloquently, so fluently, with all grammatical, correction be put in the right place at the right time? And you still talking about a no English language in his certificate? He also said this guy had no mathematics in his certificate. And I began to wonder, a man that had no math in his certificate read one of the most difficult courses in the whole of Nigeria, the classical studies. Apart from that, this man went ahead, went to US, came out with a flying color. He became a financial guru who deals with figures in large quantum every now and then. I began to wonder, if this man had no mathematics, but today he can sit there and tells you what happens as far as calculation is all concerned. Is there not something that we are missing today, that we lay so much emphasis on things that are not what we need to lay emphasis on? A man that is working with the likes of Dangote, a man that is working with the likes of Adenuga and all that, that has helped to build their companies financially, help them to manage the day-to-day financial activities of their company. You are saying it does not have a mass, it should prove his certificate. I say, wow. Wow. If it will be better for me not to have not for Obaseki not to have a certificate, for it to be a man that will help me to grow to grow the Edo State, then such a man should be who we would love to vote for. Remember during Ashomole's time, they said Ashomole does not have a price certificate. The Edo people said, we don't care. We don't care about Ashomole's certificate because he's doing what Lucky Benedion, that is a master degree holder, could not do. So we don't care if Oshomole has a certificate or not. It's good for us because he's working more than his predecessor. So it's a pity. Let me tell you a little story about my life. Maybe it will help some people. When I was getting ready for my WAEC, and it's just about 3 weeks before the WAEC, many of my friends are watching me now. They will know what I'm talking about. 3 weeks before our examination, I lost my dad. 3 weeks before the examination, I lost my dad. When I lost my dad, I was devastated. And you see now, I'm even short of words when I'm talking this because it's quite painful, you know. People, my friends that are here on me, watching me on both Facebook and YouTube, they know I was so very intelligent. I was devastated. I lost focus. While I was writing my own exam, that was the time my father burial was going on. The same period, the same time. I remember the day I went to write my economics exam, that was the very night that my dad was buried. You know, that was the very night my dad was buried. There was no way I could go and sleep. I had to be in the burial ceremony. The following day, I have to go to school without not doing a refreshing of memory or of my books as at that point in time. Okay, so when the result came out, it was not as what I expected it to be. It was some of my friends who knew me very well were like wondering, Steve, what happened? Some people said, you know, Steve had, you know, an issue during the time we were writing this exam because of what he was going through, you know, because of his father's demise. So I'm using that as an example that at the end of the day, I might not be able to have come out with the flying color that I needed to have come out with at the time of my very particular exam. That does not define my intelligence, because circumstances can make you not to have been able to do what you ought to have done in a particular time. Okay, so when people are not trying to now say, okay, because the man does not have, maths and English in a way that he did 1977. This guy has built companies. He was even saying in that very particular interview that Afri Invest was already dead. And I said, what? You, that your farm is not even working. You are still talking to a man who still have connections all over the world. He said that Afri Invest was already dead. I said, look at this guy. Your farm is not even functioning. You are still talking to a man who the Oba of Benin said Tinubu came. Dangote came to stand for as a guarantor. That Dangote came to him and said, I am here to stand as a guarantor for Obaseki. A man that the likes of Dangote will come and stand for as a guarantor would have told you and every supporter of POI that the man is in another level. Which of the financial gladiators in Nigeria today can stand for POI? Except political miscreants who are all interested in the treasure of Nigeria. Who can boldly come out and stand behind POI? All the professionals in Edo State living in Abuja, living in Lagos and other parts of Nigeria, all of them clamor for Obaseki re-election. If you remember when he was in APC before he was disqualified, it was the Edo professionals, the Edo big men in Abuja that actually put money together and buy Obaseki's nomination form under the APC. Who came out and stand for POI? We saw the wife of Chief Odigo Yegun, which is also part of the professionals, came out on Channel television defending Obaseki's re-election, saying the professionals in Edo have decided wherever Obaseki goes, that is where they will go. Okay? So, when people are not trying, to not say, the man does not have certificate, is it a man that has so much of such, influence within the Nigeria and the entire world? You still talking about a certificate where he had proven to you, even the UI came out to say this guy is an alumni of the University of Ibadan. He's a graduate of the University of Ibadan. What more do you want? Having said that, in that debate, you will see throughout the debate, Pastor Zege Zeyemu could not answer a simple question. All he does was attacking the governor and his government. He forgot, just like most of his people forget, just like most of his people forget, that the difference between an interview, a campaign, and a debate. You understand the difference between interview, a campaign, and a debate? Maybe they're not getting that clearly. Maybe that was why they had so much flop. while he was on the campaign, on the debate ground. A debate is you trying to convince the audience and the moderator why your manifesto is better than that of your opponent. Why you should be elected into the office of the governor of the state against your opponent. That you are better an administrator than your opponent. That is all debate is all about. That is it. You must be able to convince the people. This is the fourth time that POI had an opportunity of defending his SIPO agenda. The fourth time. The fourth time in a row to defend his SIPO agenda. He had not been able to do it. You can't have such opportunities for 4 times to defend an agenda that you say will take Edo State to become a mini Dubai. You have had 4 times, you have had. Let me remove a guy here. I told you guys you have the right to comment, but you don't insult people, because insulting people just shows your level of immaturity and so when you begin to insult people, then you don't actually understand what we are doing here. Okay, this is what I say. They are always very, very quick. They are always very, very volatile. They are always very, very quick to releasing insults. Without non-listening. That is why they can never learn. Okay? Now, having said that, look at what I wrote here. I saw a desperate candidate that endlessly through months, hoping that at least one will stick. So much so that he forgot to say any meaningful thing about his own plan, in contrast to the other candidates that was composed while relaying out with facts and figures in defense of achievement and further plans. Let me say something here. It is not about insulting people. It's not about coming to somebody's wall and throw insults. Go sit down, watch the debate again and again and again and again. If you are being asked, if you are elected as a governor, what will you do about the economy of the state? That was the question. If you are elected as a governor, not for you to comment on the performance of the incumbent, because come September 19, maybe paraventure, Israel becomes the governor. That was a question of Sheung to the both candidates. The next thing you will hear is this man is collecting 700 million naira every month as security votes. This man is only giving the police 5 million naira. Now they will ask him again, what will you do in terms of security? This man is collecting 700 million naira security votes. This man will only give police 5 million naira. They will ask him again, what will you do in the education sector? He said, my church owns a school. What will you do in the education sector? My church owns a school. How does these two statements work together? What will you do in the education sector? My answer is this: my church owns a school. If, for example, your church owns a school, are you actually the one that is running the school? The answer is no. You cannot also use the same mechanism of running a private school to run a public school. Because when you're having a public school where they don't pay for so much or they don't pay anything, then why will you now want to compare a private owned school to a public owned school? Number two, the private owned school is a church school also that also has something different from the way and manner a public school will be run. In the private school being owned by a church, there are rules and regulations that govern the church, which also implies to the school. But in the private school, in the public school, there are no rules of some kind of church, whether a Muslim, a pagan, or whatever is going to come in. How are you going to do it better? You said your church owns a school. And people were saying that was the right question. Then immediately he said that, he went over again. There were no teachers in the school. It's a simple question. How are you going to run the school? You just tell us what you feel, what you know you're going to do better, what you feel you're going to do better than the person that is there right now. He had the opportunity, but he could not actually define his manpower, which was what the education sector stands for. When they asked him about security, he said, I'm going to create vigilante, 10,000 vigilantes all over the state. Then at the end of the day, I'm going to take 200 million naira from the security vote to pay them stipends. Is it vigilante that will stop the high rate of crime in Nigeria? Are you kidding me? For real. He wants to give back the power to the lions and the tigers. Do you know that actually knew when vigilante was actually reigning? It got to a point vigilante became the criminals in their locality. Yeah. There was a time they became the criminals in their locality, vigilantes. They asked him, if you become governor, are you going to do like Amoteku, the kind of Amoteku style? He said, we have to write to the federal government. Did the Southwest wrote to federal government before they began Amoteku? So, my brother, it was so funny for me. Then I saw a candidate that was full of street and beer parlor talks. I saw a candidate that was full of street and beer parlor talks. And another candidate that speak in professional language and kept to time. Throughout the time, and it was only once that Seun told Obaseki, your time is up, just once. But throughout the debate, every of his Yemu time, never ended his talk before Sheun will obstruct him, your time is up. If a man cannot keep to time during a debate time, how can he keep to his words that is giving you today? In his Jingilo, he said, I am not a liar. I'm not a deceiver. I will keep to my time because this agenda is time bound. A man that could not keep to time in a debate, how can he be able to keep to time when he eventually been elected as a governor? If you watch that debate, it's a clear indicator of what we will experience if Izeyamo becomes the governor of the state. There will be a blame game, blame game, blame game, blame game, blame game. There's going to be a repetition of what happened in 2015 till today at the federal level, where till today the federal government is still blaming PDP. As we speak now, the federal government is still blaming PDP for what had happened up to today. They have already ruled 4 years, but yet they are still blaming PDP for their woes, for their inability to perform. They are still blaming today, up to today. When they talk about, you people said you are going to reduce the cost of fuel. Now they're not saying, do you know that during Jonathan time, when Jonathan was selling fuel at 87, they say it was the highest in the world. Now that fuel is now at 61 naira, they said it is the cheapest in the world. That is APC for you. The same star is what we are experiencing today. You see, in that debate, it was all attacking for 1 hour plus. It was just attacking, nothing more. If you vote him in, he's going to continue with the attack after he had left office. He's going to tell you, Obaseki did not do this. 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 That's going to be the song you'll be hearing in their mouth. So, if Obaseki did not perform according to POI, and he had done nothing at all, what are you going to do differently? What are you going to do differently? That was a question. What he would have done is to begin to, lay out his simple agenda policies in details. Because every question that he was asked, every question that Pastor Sagizem was asked in that debate is enshrined in the simple agenda pamphlet that he was holding. We must tell ourselves the truth. Every question that Pastor Sagizem was asked in that debate is enshrined in the simple agenda that he was holding in that podium. So he had everything. If he actually have read through that simple agenda, if the simple agenda had been disseminated into him, he would have been able to have picked every time Shehu asked him a question, he would have gone back to the simple agenda and said, yes, on security, X stands for security. In the security aspect of it, this is what we're going to do differently. This is how we're going to raise the money, and this and that. I stand for infrastructure. Now that the health system is in a dilapidated state, according to him, we are going to create this, and this is how we are going to raise the money. EMU stand for manpower. Then, because our schools today have not so much teachers in it, this is what we are going to do it, and also we are going to put in a lot, of finances, making the school to be better. P stand for partnership. We are going to bring in, private investors. We have, just like that. That was what was expected. That was what was expected to have been rolled out to the people. Many of us after that debate would have decided to change our minds, because we are waiting for someone who can tell us what he can do, not what Obaseki cannot do. Get this, guys. In politics, we already know what Obaseki can do. Okay? We already know what Obaseki can offer. We know now. What can you offer? That was the question. We already know that Obaseki is this. You that is coming in as a new guy. What can you offer? That is what would have convinced us. Not telling us what the mistake he had made. We know he had made mistake, assuming. We know he had failed, assuming, according to you, he had failed. Fine. What will you do differently? Since he had failed us. That is what the debate was all about. It wasn't a campaign ground where you throw aspiration on others. We know you have failed us according to your own, calculation. Fine and good. What will you do separately? And how are you going to do it? That is the reason for that gathering called debate. I saw a candidate that keep whining and complaining about everything and forget to acknowledge any of his opponent achievements. And another that keep to his plan and said as much as possible in his favor. Guys, go watch again. I saw a candidate that keep whining and complaining about everything and forget to acknowledge any of his opponent's achievements. And I saw another that kept to his plan and said as much as possible in his favor. Okay? So, you can't tell me. Listen, guys. I don't know whoever that is advising POI. I think POI was smarter than that. I think he was smarter than that. I don't know whoever that advised him to play that role. I don't know who told him to play that role that he played in that very particular debate. But I think he would have also acknowledged one or two that the governor had done right. In politics, you can't say the man failed. 100% failed. You would have said, okay, maybe, for example, he pays teacher salary now. Yeah, I think I would say the Obaseki government did so well in the payment of teacher salary and the pensioners. I think at least Edo State is not owing salaries today, but that is not enough, as a governor. I think I was also giving a credit because I saw the roads. Some of the roads have been tied, around my areas and all that and that. Maybe you cannot say the standard that was being done was not what you expected. But if you say the man had failed woefully, that shows you are not even telling the people the truth. I saw a candidate that was arrogant, rude, and insulting, and another that refused to go to the gutters. This is my own perspective of the debate. If you watch Obaseki, it was just on point. But if you watch my brother, between the two of them, if you were asked, who is the pastor in that very particular debate? Who is the pastor? Who was more calm? Who was the one that just have to take smiles even when aspiration is being thrown on his persons? He's just calm, smiling. That is leadership by example, which is L in the simple agenda. That is leadership by example. That was not displayed in that debate. What is this guy? What is NDC project? NDC project is paying teacher salary. Who be this guy again now? And the NDC project are teacher salary. Oh, Salo, boy, this EPA people, they know kill somebody. NDC na teacher salary. Oh, Salo, boy, man. I don't enter today. You see that now? This guy was just be composed. But my brother on the other side was a little bit very, there was a lot of bitterness he was throwing out from himself. As a governor of a state, you must have the ability to be calm. You must be calm in order to be able to carry the people. They said Obaseki is not calm, but he saw that it was just quiet. He was just smiling at him. That is a show of the difference between these two people. That is the show. It was well clear that Obaseki would be. That Obaseki will be a better. Obaseki will be a more better governor than Isaiah Yamu. That's why you must vote for him. Okay? I saw a candidate that was so forgetful. I saw a candidate that was so forgetful that you will almost question dementia. And I saw another that was attentive and sharp. In that debate, you will see they will ask Obaseki question first. Then the time Isaiah will come and answer. He will say, Pastor Sake Isaiah, your time. He will say, what question? Say, what question? Immediately. Then she will not say, the question I just gave to Obaseki, the question will not be repeated for him again. He did that over 3, 4, or 5 times. In that very particular debate. Why he was forgetting, but when they ask him a question first and ask Obaseki to come and answer, Obaseki goes ahead directly and asks and answer the question without not asking Sheung, what question are you talking about? So if a man within 2 minutes of a question can forget Kelly J, I beg you. If a man in 2 minutes can forget the question that was asked, how do you expect such a man to run a complicated state like Edo State. I saw a candidate that was loquacious with terrible diction, and another whose diction was simply clean and civil. As someone whose talk was that of lions and tigers, but as someone whose talk was of a refined person. If you watch in the interview, you will see Obaseki always said, by the grace of God, by the grace of God, by the grace of God. In most of his beginning of his statement, that word by the grace of God was being used. Now, in the side of my brother, it never there. In the side of Obaseki, it was civil in the language that he was putting before the people. But in the side of my brother, it was never there. In Obaseki, you see him, he was always, very careful of what he says. But in the side of my brother, it was never there. Even when they ask him, they ask Obaseki, there have been a lot of controversy over your result. Can you put something in place here? Look at when Obaseki was talking. Obaseki said, it is so unfortunate, look at the word, that a man who could not or who did not attend a school, we have the power to decide who has a certificate or not. And I want Father to say, he gave all that he could give. They did not ask Pastor Sage Zeyamu. There are many things that Oshomole said about you in your educational days in the university. And the next thing we heard was an attack on Obaseki. He said his days in the university are clean, that he had nothing whatsoever that would make him to feel everything was okay in his days. But he forgot he actually made an interview in 2016 when he was the candidate of the PDP, when he tried to clear the air on his involvement in courtesan in the university days. He forgot that. He forgot that he once had an interview where he openly admitted he was a member of the pirate confraternity. He forgot that completely. Somebody asks you, you have an opportunity to tell the people, what people have said about you. It was a podium for him. It was a podium for him to be able to have done marvelously well in explaining to the people what he went through, how he became who he was. But for you to say nothing happened, that shows that there is no level of truthfulness in such a person. They're not saying that was old days. But because somebody asked you the question, there is a way you're going to put it across to the people. Yeah, Raphael, yeah, that's what I'm saying now. But your candidate, your principal refused to admit that it was once a pirate in that interview. That is my take. You saying you were once a pirate member, a pirate confraternity, does not change the fact that you are now a Christian. No. There are questions that needed to be cleared. For the people to understand, I was once there, but today I am no longer a member. For you to say it never happened, that is my point. That's the difference right now. Nobody cares about what he did even yesterday. But admission of that very particular thing that you did is what matters a lot, my brother. That's the point I am going to. Okay? Okay. Now, now, I said for 2 hours, for 2 good hours, Pastor Sage Zeyamu could not sell his manifestos. Sharon, I'm going to say what things. Sharon asked him a question. Mr. Zeyamu, if elected as governor, how will you grow Edo economy in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic? He will just tell you the governor's security vote was doubled. What are your plans to revamp the educational sector? The Zeyamu will answer. The governor did not employ teachers even with a double security vote. What will you do differently to improve the security of the state? I will employ vigilante. I will use the security vote to do a lot. How will you fight human trafficking? The security vote will be used, will be properly used. What will you do differently in the area of tourism? What Governor Obaseki gets as a security vote is more than what Oshomole gets while he was in government. What will you do to improve the health sector? What the governor is getting as a security vote can build hospital in all the local councils. You will see that at this point, the entire audience and Obaseki, they started laughing. Because the guy repeated security vote 20 times in 2 hours. 20 times in 2 hours. "20 times in 2 hours." He was just repeating security vote, security vote. Even when the BBC pidgin English, it was security vote. When he had an interview, had copy, it was security vote. When Shehu went to his house after the peace meeting of the Oba, it was security vote. Even in his campaign, it is security vote. My question is this: is it security vote that is the only source of revenue in Edo State today? Let me tell you, do you people know the reason why Zeyamu is so much concerned about the security vote? You know the reason why? Because security vote is not being accounted for by governors or presidents. So the governor or the president can use the security vote the way they want. They do not give account for security votes. So that is why my brother, my pastor, is so much concerned, because that is the only way they get free money. So that's why he's so much concerned that this area, this man, I think this man is cheating me in this area. This security vote, if I enter, no, I have to amount so that they will know that this man is using the money. Okay? Raphael, go and watch most of my videos. I have stated that in all of my videos, in all of my interviews, in all of my debate with your guys. Okay? I've stated that. If you want to have a debate with me, please take the interest. I will give your name to Naija Watch. They will meet, tomorrow. And we can put it out there so that the world can see. Okay, guy? Now, in conclusion, now we know that Mr. Zeyamu has nothing to offer Its target is the security vote, borrowing, and federal allocations. Edo should be aware of this scam, so we do not repeat what happened in 2015. My submission was this. After watching the entire interview or debate, this is where I ended. Iseyemu was told to attack Obaseki so that he will go into defense. But he never knew Obaseki is a Messi and Ronaldinho combined. He just relaxed and wait until the ball gets to his court and he tests the opponent how best to play with the ball. I said Iseyemu was told to attack Obaseki so that he will go into defense. But he never knew Obaseki is Messi and Ronaldinho combined. He just relaxed and waited until the ball gets to his court and he tests the opponent how best to play with the ball. Iseyemu claimed to have a simple agenda, but he could not answer a simple question. Iseyemu claimed to have a simple agenda, but Iseyemu could not answer a simple question. That will tell you governance is not simple. That will tell you governance is not a simple agenda thing. It goes beyond just being simple. Governance is complicated. Until you get into the saddle, you will not understand what governance is all about. It's just like when a footballer is playing on the pitch, the fans will be saying, he would have done it like this, he would have done it like this. The moment you get into the pitch, you will not understand it is more serious than just saying it from the side of the pitch. If you can't answer questions, I wonder how you can be able to deal with complicated issues like we have in Edo today. And when Obaseki asked him a question, the last one, he said, in the issue of the post-COVID-19, and having seen your simple agenda, I know you need a minimum of 500 billion naira to carry out this project. How are you going to raise the fund in the first 100 days? And my brother replied, I am not as wasteful as you are. Whether COVID or no COVID, the revenue of Edo State will improve. And so, whether COVID or no COVID, the revenue of Edo State will improve. That was his answer. Post-COVID, the whole world today is in problem. Even the developed world like America, Sweden and all, they are in difficulty trying to revamp, to revitalize the economy. It's a difficult work for them. With all, the companies and all that they had on ground. No talk of a developing nation like Nigeria and a state that is called a civil servant state. And I began to laugh. That even made me to crack my ribs. I started laughing. Whether COVID or no COVID, the the revenue of Nigeria will increase. The question was how? How does that answer the question that was posed to him? So, brothers and sisters, I rest my case here. If you want a better Edo, vote for Obaseki. He had proven beyond every reasonable doubt that he had what it takes to take Edo to the next level. Please, guys, come this Saturday. Call home. Advise your family. Tell them to vote for the man who sabi. Tell them to vote for Umbrella. Tell them to vote PDP. Tell them to vote Governor Enoerase Obaseki and Shaibu. God bless you guys. Have a nice day until we see again. Bye.
I never see this kind of net for Edo. I never see this kind of not.
Thank you, my people. I appreciate you guys.
Obaseki, come on for the Edo people, they rejoice. Make you go see secretariat to small do by the small. Edo see go sama from mountain with salary allowed. Edo teacher go from analog to digital. Pensioner the society will no more progress for their money. Marketing
Hey, George, we'll continue tomorrow. Make an end today. Oh. Jeff, I greet you, sir. Thank you, Brad George. Tomorrow is another day again, 5 p.m. tomorrow. Let's come back here. We continue to tell them the truth. We want a better Edo. It doesn't matter who wins. We want a better Edo. That is our concern. But for now, Obaseki is the best. He's the best. There's no two ways about it. Kelly, God bless you, sir. I appreciate you. Sister Gawa, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, peaceful election, that's what we want, a peaceful election. It belongs to all of us, that's what I'm saying now. Barafe, this is all for us. We are fighting for a state whereby everything will work peacefully. No violence. Let the people decide. Whosoever the people decides on Saturday will be the governor. No, let's fight against rigging. Let our vote count. It's going to help every one of us if our vote counts on that day. Thank you, guys. People say,